So I'm going to tell you today about science storytelling. In addition to my daily work and family responsibilities, 3 challenges can keep me up at night. I am a scientist, and more specifically, I am a virologist, so I play with viruses in the lab every day. And what do scientists do? They run experiments to publish papers, and they write grant proposals to fund the research. And for any of you who went through this process before, you know really well how hard it is to get your paper published. And once you have your paper in print, how many people are going to read it in full? On average, about 10 people only. Which means that a lot of cool science will go completely unnoticed by scientists, let alone non-scientists. So my first challenge is how to make my science more accessible to a wider audience. As probably many of you who are sitting here in this room, I can describe myself as a highly educated expat. And when I look back at the status of education in my home country, I cringe. Under such conditions, ignorance prevails, and media can quickly fill in the void with their catchy headlines and fairy tales that would attract traffic, but the facts that you guys need to know get diluted or completely lost. And that takes me to the second challenge, which is, as a scientist, how can I counteract the effects of these unprofessional media? This is a slide that I'm borrowing from Nafez al-Dakkak, who is the CEO of a drug foundation and was a speaker on this stage last year. According to him, the number of internet users in the Middle East is increasing at a rate of about 20% every year. And 9 out of 10 young people in the Middle East believe that the internet is going to play a major role in realizing their aspirations of getting employment and better education. Another good sign, Coursera, which is one of the major MOOC platforms, once listed Egypt as a learning hub. However, though, according to Nafez also, only 3% of the internet content is in Arabic. And that takes me to my third challenge, which is how to make internet great again. For education, of course. In late 2012, I got introduced to an NGO called Egypt Scholars. This foundation was established by a group of experts here in the US. It has a main mission of supporting education in the Middle East, mainly through online activities, and it's relying on volunteers. I volunteered with them to give a webinar during one of their early online activities. And in fact, that was my very first time ever to do anything related to education on the internet. Shortly after this webinar, I volunteered with them, and currently I have the honor of serving on their board of directors. In 2013, I got introduced to another NGO called Tahrir Academy, which was founded in Egypt shortly after the revolution of January 25th. And it was on its path of becoming the equivalent of Khan Academy in the Middle East. But unfortunately, this project got discontinued. I collaborated with them on 4 video series. The first 2 were recorded in their office in Cairo, and then the second 2 were recorded here in Boston. More specifically, the last one was on Ebola virus, and it was recorded in my office at home. And guess who was my cameraman and director? My son, Adham. Here, maybe you can see him. He's actually here in the audience. So we've reached a stage where we can produce raw material at home, but we had 0 experience in video editing. I woke up on Saturday, the 22nd of February, 2014, on this Facebook post, which was basically an announcement made by the official spokesman of the Egyptian Armed Forces, claiming that they have a new discovery for treating HIV and hepatitis C patients. The days that followed brought even more awkward people with more awkward claims. Basically, as you can see, in military uniforms and white coats, unfortunately. And basically, we're dealing with two devices for diagnosing and treating pretty much all viral infections. Seriously? Are you kidding me? So I received this news with a lot of skepticism because I understand this language really well, and I know that we don't yet have the tools that would allow us to materialize their claims. I felt that my science was being humiliated, and I felt that a lot of patients are being deceived, but what to do? So I go out and record a video and upload it to YouTube and post it on Facebook, and boom, it goes viral. But that was not my plan. I've never, ever expected that people will be interested enough to sit down and watch a video that's 80 minutes in length, doesn't have any entertainment, any humor, not even a belly dancer. It's just someone boring talking about science. But they did watch it. The story was quickly picked up by Science magazine, and I took this upon myself as a cause to fight for. It's either they back up or I'll just keep going. The most powerful lesson that I've learned out of this experience was that people, if you talk science, people are going to listen to you if you hit them with the right dose at the right wavelength. Another powerful experience was when I was invited to give a talk at TEDx Cairo 2015. And that was, I gave a talk which was mainly about viruses. It was a very scientific talk. And the response from the largely young audience was overwhelmingly good. And actually, that was my first time to speak to a live audience of more than 1,000 people in the same room. Adham was also there in the same room, and on our way back to Boston, we had Shale above shouting in our ears, "Just do it!" So we go to the basement of our house and establish this house studio and learn about the basics of video editing and launch a YouTube channel called Viral Vlog. Viral stands for virology, which is my science, and vlog is a video blog. And we basically create short scientific videos at home from A to Z. And we also conduct some interviews with other scientists and other people from all walks of life to show our audience that different disciplines of science are interconnected and to show them that science is relevant to our daily life, history, culture, arts, politics, you name it. Why are we doing this? Well, first of all, we are the primary beneficiaries. Because if I want to make any of those videos, I need to go back to my closet and study. Another interesting learning experience comes through the feedback and the comments that we receive from our audience after we post our videos. In fact, we also receive some advice, some technical advice from people who are more experienced about video editing, and they're trying to help us to improve our product. We are targeting everybody. We are targeting the general public, and our main objective is to spread knowledge and help fighting rumors and misconceptions. We are also targeting students. We want to show them the bright face of science. We want to prove to them that science can be fun. And hopefully we want to encourage them to learn more. And based on the comments that we received, it seems like we're doing just that. And not only this, we're actually inspiring them to create their own science videos. And I can tell you that this is a very promising sign because if you want to learn something well, go ahead and teach it. So they are doing this to themselves. We are also targeting doctors and academics because the material that we are offering in our videos has a very health-related component. And we're hoping to be a useful resource for doctors. And we're hoping also to be a good voice speaking for academics, particularly in our field. We are trying to enrich the Arabic content on the internet, and that seems to be working really well with some people who like to consume this scientific material in their own native language. What's more interesting is that we are penetrating way beyond Egypt. In the beginning, I thought that we will be only talking to Egyptians, but we are receiving messages from Palestine, Yemen, Saudi Arabia, Morocco. And just the other day, I enjoyed reading a discussion on our Facebook page between some of our fans from Mauritania. Isn't this amazing? I've never, ever expected that I will reach all the way to Mauritania. We are influencing the media, hopefully in a positive way, and that's happening in two folds: when they invite us to speak on their shows about topics related to viruses, or when they use our video material. We created a video on Zika virus early this year, and it was aired in full on one of the local Egyptian TV channels. On a personal level, this is a very nice bonding experience. We're not just a father and son. We are more of a business partners, and we're trying to produce a material that's useful for the entire Arabic-speaking family, for them to watch on their time on the internet. So far, our data says that the main bulk of our audience falls between the ages of 18 all the way up to late 30s. We are hoping to penetrate to much younger ages, but that will need some resources. And we are here to tell you that you also can do it. If we have scientists here in this room, we need you. We need more scientists to roll up their sleeves and get into communicating their science to the general public. The recipe is quite simple. You need a lot of passion. You need to really like doing what you're doing. I'm sure if you are a scientist, I'm sure you have a lot of interesting stories in your field or area of expertise to tell people about. And I would suggest that you spice up your stories with a little bit of humor, because it turns out to be that the best learning experience is the one that combines the aha moment with the ha-ha moment. And believe me, if you're targeting Egyptians, you need to try to be funny. Otherwise, they won't be interested. You won't need a lot of sophisticated equipment. You can do it in a corner in your house. You will need to learn a little bit about video editing, but I can tell you that this is not impossible. I mean, if I can do it, you can also do it. There will be some challenges. One of them is the inefficient marketing, because you're only relying on social media. So you're like targeting a fraction of the people and the age groups who are on social media. If you want to go more mainstream, you will need to be on TV. Another challenge is I hear a lot about slow internet connection in certain countries like Egypt, but I think that's going to be resolved in the near future. The final challenge is the tight budget, because these initiatives are mostly self-funded. However, though, we ran a successful crowdfunding campaign recently, which means that there are people who will be able or who are interested to support these initiatives financially. After I've been through all these experiences, I can tell you that I envision the role of a scientist like this prism. Science should shine on you from one end, and then you should reflect the stuff that you have learned in all sorts of colors to match different experiences and different interests and different backgrounds. So please go ahead and tell us about your story. Before I end this, I want to invite my business partners to the stage. And I want to thank Professor Vincent Arcaniello, who has been a great inspiration for virologists like me to spread their science. And I want to thank people who have supported our initiative. And thank you for your attention. And please go check us out on social media. Thank you.